Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ji, Shri Shri Gaur Netaji, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirahe Nashtapraeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vamchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा प्रभु जी just 1 second let me share my entire screen 1 second so welcome all Prabhujis Matajis in today's discussion as part of Bhakti Vaibhav course on chapter 11. Chapter is entitled Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka. So as we see the flow of Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam that we have discussed so far, Srimad Bhagavatam started with the 6 questions by the sages of Naimisharanya and Sutta Goswami's answers to those 6 questions. And those 6 questions were followed by the Shaunakadi Rishi with further inquiries for Sutta Goswami. And can anyone mention what was the crux of the further inquiries by the sages of Naimisharanya to Sutta Goswami? And whoever devotees want to answer, you can raise your hands so that we give all devotees a chance. What was the further inquiry beyond the 6 questions by the sages? Anyone?
How did Yudhishthira rule the kingdom, Prabhuji?
Yudhishthir Maharaj's rule came as the outcome of that inquiry, but
Yes.
there was a specific inquiry by the sages after the first 6 questions were answered. And that, like, I'll give you a hint. The answer to that inquiry started from the life of Srila Vyasadeva. Yes, Prem Prakash Haridas Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
These were the questions regarding the Srimad Bhagavatam, the speaker, and then the Parikshit Maharaj.
Yes, very, very nice, Prabhuji. So the further inquiries were mainly related to the history of Srimad Bhagavatam, including how did Srimad Bhagavatam come about. That was the first inquiry. Second inquiry was about the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, and third was about the hearer, the primary hearer of Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj. And then Sutta Goswami went into great detail about Srila Vyasadeva, how after he having compiled all the Vedic scriptures, still he was despondent within his heart. He was not feeling the complete satisfaction. And his spiritual master, Srila Narada Muni, analyzed the cause of his despondency as Srila Vyasadeva not having sufficiently glorified the Supreme Lord. Haricharya anuvartante. That means not enough glorification, repeated glorification about the pure devotional service of the Lord as the primary cause of Srila Vyasadeva not feeling complete satisfaction. So if we see answer to those inquiries by Sutta Goswami, they should be in a sequential manner, correct? So he started with the history of Bhagavatam, then about Vyasadeva, his despondency, Narada's analyzing the cause, and further Narad Muni describing his own past life as the son of a maid servant, and so on and so forth. And then when it came to beginning of the birth and activities of Maharaj Parikshit, Sutta Goswami covered the portion about Lord Krishna, his imminent departure from Hastinapur towards Dwarka, Uttara coming to him, pleading for protection for the child within the womb. And of course, before that, Ashwatthama having killed the 5 children, 5 sons of Pandavas in their sleep just after the battle of Kurukshetra. So the background to the birth of Maharaj Parikshit. However, what happens just at the time when Suta Goswami is describing about Lord Krishna's protection to the Parikshit, we see that technically speaking, there is a slight diversion, and it will be clear when we go into bit more details why that diversion and how that diversion is, philosophically speaking, is not a diversion. It was the ecstasy of Suta Goswami when Lord Krishna's description is being mentioned as the Bhaktavatsala, how he first responded to the plea of Uttara, then he acknowledged, accepted the prayers of Kunti Devi, and then he stayed back again further on the request of Maharaj Parikshit for few more days in Hastinapur. So that time we see that the continuation that should have happened from the protection of Maharaj Parikshit in the womb of his mother to the birth of Maharaj Parikshit, it did not happen. The topic got stretched into Lord Krishna's dealings with his intimate devotees and devotees' separation from the imminent departure of Lord Krishna. So we see that chapter 10 and chapter 11 of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, as such, if we look at the flow of the answers by Suta Goswami, they are not supposed to be the part of the flow. But because of ecstasy of Suta Goswami in his contemplation towards Lord Krishna, and same thing also we can see in the uh, in the narration of Srimad Bhagavatam by his own spiritual master, Shukadev Goswami. Whenever the topics of Krishna are being described, Shukadev Goswami goes into ecstasy, into trance, and his answers to Maharaj Parikshit's questions are spontaneous. It is not that he decided first day I will cover this, second day I will cover this, so on and so forth. In fact, if we were to see the plan of Shukadev Goswami, he was almost about to conclude when the beginning of the narration of Lord Krishna's childhood pastimes was being described by him. That he thought that Maharaj Parikshit has stayed awake without food, without water, without sleep for 7 full days and 7 full nights. So he does inquire, and Parikshit Maharaj specifically mentions to him, please don't think that I am fatigued because of continuous hearing. In fact, the nectar of your description of the glorification of the Lord is giving me all necessary strength. So similarly, Suta Goswami also going into ecstasy whenever Lord Krishna's descriptions are coming as the Bhakta Vatsala, as Lord Krishna's affection towards his devotees. He's going into great detail, he's going into great length. And that's why we see these two chapters about Lord Krishna's departure from Hastinapur and Krishna being received in Dwaraka being mentioned in detail by Suta Goswami, although these descriptions were not part of the original flow of the answers to the questions by Naimisharanya sages. So any questions, comments, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, all of us, we got this particular point, that how these pure devotees of the Lord, while they are answering the inquiries by the sages and so on and so forth, as far as the description and glorification of the Lord is concerned, there is also a great element of spontaneity in their description to these answers. Any questions, comments on this before we proceed? Hare Krishna.
Most wonderful explanation, Prabhuji. Okay. It was never understood before.
Yeah, so it as a student of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is very important for us to understand the flow of the chapters. And flow of the chapters we will be able to understand only when we go into the heart of our previous predecessor acharyas, that including Suta Goswami, Shukadev Goswami, why they are mentioning a specific topic to a level of detail in that particular context. So let's proceed. And what I just mentioned, it will be corroborated when we go to the next chapter about Maharaj Parikshit. Is it Birth of Maharaj Parikshit? Can someone confirm the chapter 12 title?
Birth of Emperor Parikshit.
Yeah, Birth of Emperor Parikshit. So then the sages of Naimisharanya get Suta Goswami back onto the question track. Basically, yes, thank you, my dear Suta Goswami, for explaining about Lord Krishna's departure from Hastinapur and entrance into Dwaraka. But then what happened to Maharaj Parikshit after he was protected by Lord Krishna within the womb of Uttara? So that particular explanation from chapter 7 is continuing in chapter 12 onwards. In between, all we see is the ecstasy of Suta Goswami because of Lord Krishna's remembrance. So let's proceed. Yeah. So what is the link between chapter 10 and 11? Chapter 10, Lord Krishna has acknowledged, accepted the feelings of all the Pandavas, the rest of the family members of the Kuru dynasty, including the ladies of Hastinapur, all the sages, Brahmanas who came to offer him respect, including Srila Vyasadeva, so on and so forth. And after acknowledging this, and after apparently taking permission of his elders, including his aunt Queen Kunti and his elder brother, cousin brother Yudhishthir Maharaj, then Lord Krishna has proceeded towards Dwarka from Hastinapur. And ending part of chapter 10, we also discussed about the different provinces through which Lord Krishna passed. Srila Prabhupada explains, including Punjab, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, so on and so forth, before reaching the outskirts of Dwaraka. And then chapter 11 begins with the reception, the grand reception offered by the Dwaraka Vasis to Lord Krishna, and their feelings of separation, their feelings of getting back their life, seeing Lord Krishna back in Dwaraka. So text wise, this particular chapter is divided into Lord text 1 to 10 describe about Lord Krishna coming to the outskirts of Dwarka at the entrance and blowing his conch shell, and typically how the Kshatriyas at that particular time, as we also see in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we see Lord Krishna, all the Pandavas, and even Bhishmadev and great warriors from the Kaurava side also blowing their respective conch shells. So Lord Krishna announcing his arrival by blowing his conch shell, and the reciprocation by the citizens of Dwarka, how they rushed hearing Lord Krishna, the sound of Lord Krishna's conch shell, that their life had returned. And then subsequent verses, they describe the natural transcendental beauty of Dwarka and the natural opulence which it was filled with, and Lord accepting the reception, grand reception that was offered by the citizens of Dwarka. So Lord Krishna at the entrance is first part, Lord Krishna accepting the reception, it is second part, and third part is Lord Krishna entering into all his 16,108 palaces and his loving reciprocation with the queens and the residents of the palaces. His transcendental relationship, which is not on the material plane with the queens of Dwarka. So we'll go through this one by one. So before that, as a precursor to this particular chapter, we see that the theme of this whole chapter is the eagerness of the Dwaraka Vasis, the longing of the Dwaraka Vasis to longings of the Dwarka Vasis from Lord Krishna. So there are many anecdotes, descriptions from Srila Prabhupada about how one should be very, very eager to meet Krishna. And even we learned as part of the Bhakti Shastri course, the quotation by Srila Rupa Goswami, Krishna Laulyam iti eka mulyam, that the longing, the greed for Lord Krishna is the price that one has to pay to achieve Lord Krishna. So we'll go through some of these quotations by Srila Prabhupada. Any devotee would like to read through? Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Keep your hands raised, those who would like to read through. Ishwari Murari Priya Mataji, Jagadananda Murari Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada Vacha, eagerness to see Krishna. There is a story in this connection. It is very instructive, so try to hear. One professional reciter was publicly reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was describing that Krishna is very highly decorated with all kinds of jewels when he goes to tend the cows in the forest. So there was a thief in that meeting, and he thought, why not go to Vrindavana and plunder this boy? He is in the forest with so many valuable jewels. I can go there and catch the child and take all the jewels. This was his intention. So he was serious. I must find that boy, he thought. Then one night I shall become a millionaire. The thief's qualification was his feeling. I must see Krishna. I must see Krishna. That anxiety, that eagerness made it possible for him to actually see Krishna in Vrindavana. He saw Krishna in just the same way as the Bhagavatam reader had described. Then the thief said, "Oh, you are such a nice boy, Krishna." He began to flatter him. He thought that by flattering him, he would easily take all the jewels. Then he proposed his real business. May I take some of these ornaments? You are so rich. No, 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 said Krishna. My mother will be angry. I cannot give them away. Krishna was playing just like a child. So the thief became more and more eager for Krishna to give him the jewels. But by Krishna's association, he was becoming purified. Then at last, Krishna said, all right, you may, you may take them. Then the thief became a devotee immediately because by Krishna's association, he had become completely purified. So somehow or other, you should come in contact with Krishna. Then you will be purified. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jagadananda. So there is also a very wonderful chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam, which comes in the early part of Canto 7. Is it chapter 1? Can somebody check? The title of the chapter is Krishna is equal to all. The Lord is equal to all. You can see in the beginning of 7th canto, where Narad Muni describes that how some of the, in response to the question by Yudhishthir Maharaj, that how did Shishupal attain salvation despite he being so blasphemous and envious towards Lord Krishna. Narad Muni describes that how all these demons are not ordinary demons. In fact, their intensity of remembrance of Lord Krishna is so great that Narad Muni, out of his humility, mentions that even I don't think I would be able to remember Krishna with that much intensity, as much intensity all these great demons had, including Shishupal, including Hiranyakashipu, including Kamsa, Ravana, and so on and so forth. So the point is, Prabhupada is mentioning here that eagerness to see Krishna, that eagerness for Krishna in any form, like the thief, he was approaching Krishna with a very ulterior motive, with the motive of getting Krishna's jewels. And he thought that he is a young boy, I would be able to manipulate him very, very easily. And Krishna let him feel that way, that yes, I am very innocent. And finally, because of Krishna's association, the thief got purified. And Krishna offered him the jewels, but he did not take the jewels because he had become completely purified. Similarly, one more anecdote Srila Prabhupada mentions. Let me see who are the other devotees. Gunashri Mataji. Gunashri Mataji, what is your initiated name?
Prabhuji, I am not initiated, Prabhuji.
Not
I have
okay,
taken shelter.
Only Adidev Prabhuji got.
Yes,
Okay, fine.
Hare Krishna. Sri Prabhupada Uvacha, eagerness to see Krishna continued. The gopis are another example of great eagerness to see Krishna. The gopis came to Krishna, being captivated by his beautiful features. They were young girls, and Krishna was so beautiful. Actually, they was lusty when they came to Krishna, but Krishna is so pure that they became first-class devotees. There is no comparison to the gopis' devotion because they loved Krishna with heart and soul. That is the qualification. They loved Krishna so much that they did not care for family or reputation when they went out in the dead of night. Krishna's flute was sounding and they were all fleeing their homes. Their fathers, their brothers, their husband all said, "Where are you going? Where are you going in this dead of night?" But the gopis did not care. They neglected their children, their family, everything. Their only thought was, we must go to Krishna. This eagerness is required. We must be very, very eager to see Krishna. Many gopis who were forcibly stopping from going to Krishna lost their lives because of their great feeling of separation. So this eagerness is wanted. Then you can see God. Whether you are lusty or a thief or a murderer or whatever it may be, somehow or other you must develop this eagerness, this desire. I must see Krishna and then Krishna will be seen. The first thing Krishna is looking for is how eager you are to see him. Krishna will respond. If you are actually eager to see Krishna, whether you are lusty or you want to steal his ornaments, or some way or other you have become attracted to Krishna, then it is sure your efforts will be successful. But you must desire Krishna only. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you. And in this regard, there is also a verse. Let me see if we can find it. 1 second. Yes, so this is also from the same chapter that I mentioned about the God is equal to everyone. And Narad Muni mentions in this, after mentioning all types of different personalities who were attracted to Lord Krishna through different means, either through their attracted, through their envy or through their hate towards Krishna. Now you might say, how can one be attracted? That means being attached to Krishna in some rasa, even as his enemy, or through lusty desires, or through any ulterior motives. So please try to repeat. This is a very important verse, 7:132. Katamopi na vena syat panchanam purusham prati
पुरुषां प्रति
tasmat kena api upayena
केन अपि उपायेन
mana krishne niveshayet.
मनः कृष्णे निवेशयेत्.
Narad Muni explains to Yudhishthir Maharaj, somehow or other one must consider the form of Krishna very seriously. Then, by one of the 5 different processes of mentioned above, one can return home back to Godhead. Athis, like King Vena, however, being unable to think of Krishna's forms in any of these 5 ways, cannot attain salvation. Therefore, one must somehow think of Krishna, whether in a friendly way or enemically. So now we come back to our chapter. So today's chapter, it's all about developing this eagerness based on the great example of the Dwaraka Vasis, how they were eager to see Krishna back in their life. And without Krishna, we discussed last time, their life was just like a body without a soul, so on and so forth. So the major vitality of their life was not present because of Krishna being away in Hastinapur. So now we start with the verses. So the first section, which consists of text 1 to 10, it talks about the Dwaraka Vasis receiving Lord Krishna. So let's go through the text first. We'll request you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any devotee would like to recite the verse, so I choose from Rasarangini Mataji, just take care of the background sound.
Prabhu, can you make me the co-host actually? That is why earlier.
Oh, okay, 1 second.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. All right. So within the devotees who have raised their hands, Shama Gopika Mataji, you want to recite?
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Suta uvacha
Sut uvacha
anartan sa upavrajya
anarthan saupavrajya
vriddhan janapadan swakan
vriddhan janapadan swakan
dadma udaravaram tesham
dadmautharavaram tesham
vishadam shamayan iva.
vishadam samayam iva.
Pran, let me go back to the Kindle. Yes.
Translation. Suta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, known as the country of Anarthas, Dwaraka, the Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants.
Purport.
Purport. The beloved Lord was away from his own prosperous metropolis of Dwaraka for a considerably long period because of the battle of Kurukshetra, and thus all the inhabitants were overcome with melancholia due to the separation. When the Lord descends to the earth, his eternal associates also come with him, just as the entourage of the king accompanies him. Such associates of the Lord are eternally liberated souls, and they cannot bear separation of the Lord even for a moment, because of intense affection for the Lord. Thus, the inhabitants of the city of Dwaraka were in a mood of dejection and expected the arrival of the Lord at any moment. Any moment. So, the heralding sound of the auspicious conch shell was very encouraging, and apparently the sound pacified their dejection. They were still more aspirant to see the Lord amongst themselves, and all of them became alert to receive him in the befitting manner. These are the signs of spontaneous love of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.
Ji Jai.
So here we see Lord Krishna has just arrived at the border, at the entrance of Dwaraka, and he has blown his conch shell. And this description continues in the subsequent verses also. What was the effect of Lord blowing the conch shell on the conch shell itself? And what does it mean for a sadhaka bhakta? So specifically before that, as we discussed a while ago, that the Kshatriyas, great Kshatriyas, they don't announce their arrival by the means like the modern means where Krishna would have sent a messenger for the Dwarka Vasis that he has arrived and so on and so forth. He blew his conch shell, and these conch shells do have a specific significance as it will be seen in the subsequent verses. Like what was the significance of the conch shells that were blown by Krishna and Arjuna in on the battlefield of Kurukshetra at the beginning of the battle? It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Anybody would like to recollect? What was the significance that was mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? What happened as a result of Krishna and Arjuna blowing their conch shell?
The hearts were
Shattered the
shattered.
hearts. Shattered the hearts.
Yes, the hearts of the warriors on the opposite side, they were all shattered. So similarly, we also see that this blowing of the conch shells, it signifies a very specific thing. So we'll read next two verses till text 3, and then we will discuss this particular slide. Let me go back to the Kindle. Let me see who are the Vandita Tunga Vidya Mataji. Let me show you 1 second. Hold. And what is the name of Lord Krishna's conch shell?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pachajanya.
Panchajanya, yes. Even I wouldn't have recollected this, but there is a specific journal by this name by one particular organization within our country. So yes, Panchajana. As such, Bhagavad Gita mentions the names of all the 5 Pandavas, which I don't recollect all 5, but Krishna's one we do recollect. Vandita Tunga Vidya Mataji.
Hare
Yes.
Prabhu.
Done.
Sauchika se devalo dharo dharo. Apyurukramasya sona sonima.
Api Ukramasya Adharu Sona Sonima
Dadhyamanaha karakanje sampute.
Sampute
Yethabhya kante kaladham utvanaha.
Yata
Abjakande Kalahamsa Utsavanaha
Yethabhya kande kalamsa udvanaha.
Yata Abjakande Kalahamsa Utsavanaha.
Yes, translation.
Translation.
You are comfortable, or I can request any
Yes,
other?
Prabhu. Yes,
Okay.
Prabhu. The white and fat bowled conch shell being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the streams of red lotus flowers.
So purport is short. You can read the purport.
The redness of the white conch shell due to the lip touch of the Lord is a symbol of spiritual significance. The Lord is all spirit and matter is ignorance of the spiritual existence. Factually, there is nothing like matter in spiritual enlightenment, and the spiritual enlightenment takes place at once by the contact of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The Lord is present in every practical of all existence, and he can manifest his presence in anyone by ardent love and devotional service to the Lord, or in other words, by spiritual contact with the Lord. Everything becomes spiritually reddened, like the conch shell in the grip of the Lord, and the Paramahamsa, or the supremely intelligent. Supremely intelligent person plays the part of the ducking swan in the water of spiritual bliss, eternally decorated by the lotus flower of the Lord's feet.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
So here it is mentioned that the conch shell, which was white in color, a fat, bold, white conch shell, has turned reddened, has become reddened because of the touch of the lips of Lord Krishna. So materially thinking, does Lord Krishna wear lipstick that the conch shell has turned red? Not at all. Lord Krishna's own transcendental body. In fact, if we refer to the famous Damodar Ashtakam by Satyavrata Muni, where Lord Krishna's lips are compared to the bimba fruit. Muhushchumbitam bimba raktadaram me. That means like rakta, like they are pure red. And I googled for bimba fruit, how do they look? And this is the photo of the bimba fruit that you see on the slide. So Lord's lotus lips are naturally red like the bimba fruit, as explained by various acharyas. And because Lord's own lotus lips are transcendental, similar to other limbs of his body, when they touch the conch shell, externally speaking, it is material. But because of the constant touch of the Lord's lotus lips, the conch shell has also become transcendental. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, where is that word? This spiritual enlightenment takes place at once by the contact of the Supreme Lord and by ardent love and devotional service to the Lord, or in other words, spiritual contact with the Lord. So similar to this conch shell, even the devotees who get in touch with the Lord through the process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Srila Prabhupada explains in one of his explanations on the first verse of Shishtastakam, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Prabhupada mentions that just like the conch shell or the flute of the Lord, like it is in touch with the Lord and becomes transcendental, similarly a sadhaka devotee, as soon as one connects with Krishna through chanting of the holy names, immediately the devotee becomes transcendental to that extent, and based on the purification of his heart that follows after the continuous process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the devotee also becomes eternally decorated and transcendental, similar to all other paraphernalia of the Lord. So for a sadhaka bhakta, lesson is we need to stay in contact, regular connect with the Lord, specifically through the process of chanting, and then subsequently other processes are also mentioned, including worshipping the Lord, including offering nice bhoga foodstuffs to the Lord, and then accepting the remnants, accepting prasadam from the Lord. All these Navavida Bhakti, if we diligently follow, these help us maintain regular contact with the Lord and will help us become purified and spiritually decorated, transcendental. So we proceed to the next verse. Text 3. Some of these verses will take slightly longer and then we will pick up pace. Sanjukta Mataji, you want to recite?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Tam upasrutyam ninadam
Upashutya ninadam
jagat bhayabhaham
jagat
pratyudayu praja sarva
Praja Sarva
bhatru darshana lalashaha Hare Krishna.
Translation.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Purport by Prabhupada ki jai. The citizen of Dwarka, having heard that sound which threatens fear personified in the material world, began to run towards him fast, just to have a long desired audience with the Lord, who is the protector of all devotees. May I continue with purport, Prabhuji?
1 second. You can mention the highlighted part because purport is slightly long.
The sound of Lord is identical with the Lord, as he have tried to explain by the non-dual position of the Lord. The material existence of our present status is full of fear. Out of the 4 problems of material existence, namely the food problem, the shelter problem, the fear problem, and the mating problem. Prabhuji, next.
Yeah, the fear.
The fear problem gives us more trouble than the others. We are always fearful due to our ignorance of the next problem. The whole material existence is full of problems, and thus the fear problem is always prominent. This is due to our association with the illusionary energy of the Lord, known as Maya or external energy. Yet all fear is vanished as soon as there is the sound of the Lord, represented by his holy name, as it was sounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the following 16 words. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can take advantage of these sounds and be free from all the threatening problems of the material existence. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So here it is mentioned that there are four problems for a conditioned living being, and these four problems are nothing but ahara, nidra, bhaya, and maitunamcha. The problems: how to get our food, ahara, how to get our recreation, how to get sleep, and all. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, the fear of what would happen, and bhaya and maitunam, how to find a partner. So out of all these problems, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that the fear is the most predominating. How many of us agree, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, that we do have constant anxiety, fear, even if apparently there is no apparent imminent danger, still at the back of our mind, whether we are traveling on the road or whether we are even lying down on the bed trying to sleep, there is always constant anxiety. That is the nature of this world. And in fact, many a times it is mentioned that there are only two types of people in this world who are totally transcendental to this fear. And who are those two types of people? One type of person is a mad person who does not understand what is happening outside, who does not have any give and take with the external world. And second type of persons, as the previous verse mentions, are the pure devotees, the Paramahamsas, who are totally dedicated, who have totally surrendered themselves to the lotus feet of the Lord. They are also fearless. And there is also a beautiful Vaishnava bhajan, which we'll see in the next slide. Bhaja hure mana Sri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. That's why all of us who are in between, who is neither completely mad, who is neither on the platform of being a Paramahamsa, being a pure devotee, each and every person in between has to experience fear. Then the next question that arises is, if we all agree that there is a constant fear, anxiety at the back of our mind, anything may go wrong, what is the reason for that fear in general from the material point of view? If we can have devotees share their thoughts. First of all, do we agree that there is fear? And if yes, then what is the typical cause of the fear? Divya Rukmini Mataji.
It's a feeling of insecurity.
Insecurity, yes,
Yeah.
insecurity. And why does the insecurity arise in general?
It's due to we don't know what is that happening in future and something
Correct,
like that. So, yeah.
correct. Uncertainty about the future, what is going to happen in the future, nobody is aware. And in the modern day and times, like I was mentioning in few sessions back, that even the most well-to-do families, they also have this constant fear, anxieties. As such, scriptures mention that from Lord Brahma to the bottommost personal living entity in this world, they are all always fearful. But that fear is becoming more and more prominent and even visible outside, even for most well-to-do persons as well in the modern day and times. Can we hear from some of the other devotees? Murli Prabhu, do you agree? In Europe, do you have anxiety, fear? Amsterdam?
I think everywhere there is fear, Prabhuji.
Everywhere there is
Everywhere
fear.
there is fear. And
Yeah.
it's it's like living. It's a second living. Fear is a second living of every human or every
Secondly,
animal. Yeah.
so and all of us will be surprised to know, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, we can see example just left, right, and center all around us. Just beginning of this week, one of uh, team members from my team in KL, Kuala Lumpur, this person sent a mail to his lead that I won't leave till Friday just to sort out the mental disturbance and the anxiety that I am feeling in my mind. And I felt so bad that, imagine the state of mind of that person who with the leads and everybody in loop is awkward to write this, that means it must have really driven him through extreme, that he is openly seeking a leave just to sort out the problem of mental anxiety and all that. So that is a constant accompaniment for any conditioned soul in Kali Yuga, not just conditioned soul, even practicing devotees till the time we attain the topmost stage. Prema Prakash Haridas Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
The fear that we all share is probably called fear of unknown. There is in life, there is one thing which is constant, and that is change. Nothing else is constant. There is only one thing which is constant, and that is change. And we are always fearful of what will change.
Yeah, so
Hare
change
Krishna.
is always very uncomfortable, very awkward situation. No person, none of us, we like change. We like a steady state life, that we should know what is going to happen. It should be expectant. Then we are comfortable. But the nature of the world, as Prabhuji very nicely mentioned, it's constantly changing. It is very unpredictable. So that also causes anxiety. And Prabhuji mentioned there is only one thing that is constant, that is change. I would say two things: change and the death. Death is also certain. So that also is a cause of fear. And maybe we'll have one more devotee who have not spoken. Prema Priya Jayashri Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Yeah, I think I have a different point to share. Recently on my Badri Yatra, I was absolutely fearless, Prabhuji. I don't know why.
No,
I
very
didn't
nice.
fear at all.
So we will also see that part when a devotee can attain the state of fearlessness, but we are discussing examples in general.
Even if a change is there, Prabhuji, we have so much of faith in Lord that we are sure He will help us to handle the change. And I enjoy a change. I don't know why. I'm different. I think I'm different.
No, it is good. It is good, Mataji. 99.99% of us are affected by fear. So if you are not, that is very good. I am affected also. Hare Krishna.
Latest experience, Prabhuji, latest experience.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
We will take one more devotee. Mamta Nagvekar Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, after COVID, I think I started having fear of death. And the fear, even if something happens to me, just a little small thing like cold or cough, I start feeling like, oh, I think I still have the virus inside, or maybe something is still happening to me, maybe something is going wrong. So that anxiety is always there. And then it also goes along like I keep feeling like, oh, I haven't worshipped, or I haven't done the seva as much as I should have. And what if something goes wrong? And what if I haven't given my 100% in bhakti? So that anxiety is always there.
Yes, so this is again another important point for a sadhaka devotee, that the feeling that we know we are not perfect, we have still not attained the stage where we can confidently face Krishna, that I have given my best and I have cleansed my heart to the best possible level. We are confident that that is not the case. There are so many impurities, anarthas within our heart, and we know how do we face Krishna with those anarthas. So that is also a cause of fear. And can any one of you give some of the recent examples of people experiencing extreme fear? Like one example was given by Mamta Mataji, which was during COVID time, that all of us in general, people, they were very fearful that anything can go wrong. We touch somewhere, and for work and all, many a times we have to go out and we may contact the virus. Any other example of the fear?
Prabhuji, is it the feeling of dependency? We feel that we don't have, if something happens, we don't have anyone to depend. Is it?
So in a way, yes, it is also mentioned that the level, to the degree the anxiety is there, to that degree we can know very well that the faith is lacking in some way or other. That is the difference between a pure devotee and us, like a devotee, like say for example Prahlad Maharaj, who was constantly facing danger at every moment because of courtesy his father, but still he was totally fearless because his faith on the Lord was to that level, right? So it is true that One of the reasons for anxiety is also not having enough faith. Any other example any devotees want to share of recent example of people experiencing extreme fear due to
Prabhuji,
one by one, not everyone together.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have two daughters, Prabhuji. One daughter is in Canada, and other daughter also wanted to go to America. That's why I am alone after the days. That's why a good friend is Krishna, Prabhuji. My good friend is Krishna.
Okay, so it is good that it is a good
It is
impedance
good.
to totally
Good friend is
dependent.
Krishna, but in the world is I'm alone, Prabhuji. That is fear.
Fearful situation. Yes, because at advanced age, anything can go wrong with the body, and if we don't have near and dear ones available at a quick call, then we feel extreme fear. So maybe we'll take one more. Any other example, Prabhuji, Mataji, can we think of recent example of something which caused extreme fear?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, the recent war that happened and the attack on Gaza, how the babies and the small kids were beheaded.
Yeah, so in general, all these wars which all of a sudden take place with not much background or history as such, due to a sudden provocation, they also cause lot of fear. And that is true because as more and more countries get involved in that conflict, there is always a danger of it boiling into a world war situation, and it can be extremely detrimental to the world populace if it becomes a world war. So then the next one, Hare Krishna.
Can I put one controversial one, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna. Yeah, the fear of so-called climate change, Prabhuji. That is something which is gripping everyone.
It is true. It is true. I won't call it so. It is true. Basically,
Prabhuji, I just have one point here: is Lord has made so much of things. This is a part of His whole Leela. If you accept that, this is definitely a part of His Leela. I look at that way.
It is true, but at the same time, you see, the Kali Yuga deterioration is also part of Lord's Leela, but we cannot remain passive and suffer in that. The intelligence, Srila Prabhupada says, is wanting to get out of this as soon as possible. It is part of Lord's Leela, but it is a part of Lord's Leela to teach the conditioned souls a lesson so that they come back home, back to Godhead quickly. So then next is, how do we get out of this fear? Like one of the points Srila Prabhupada mentions very important is this particular portion of the purport we'll read again. Through the holy names of the Lord. This sound of the Lord is identical with the Lord, as we have tried to explain by the non-dual position of the Lord. Non-dual means the sound vibration of the Lord is same as the Lord, non-different from the Lord. The material existence of our present status is full of fear. Out of the four problems of material existence, namely the food problem, the shelter problem, the fear problem, and the mating problem, the fear problem gives us more trouble than the others. We are always fearful due to our ignorance of the next problem. Ignorance means we don't know what is going to happen next. The whole material existence is full of problems, and thus the fear problem is always prominent. This is due to our association with the illusory energy of the Lord, known as Maya. There is also a verse to this extent. I have heard it few times from Namanishta Prabhuji, but I'm not recollecting right now. Aishwarya Subhadra Mataji, Anand Vilas Prabhu, or other devotees, if you recollect, where it is mentioned, as soon as we look towards the illusory energy, as soon as we are involved with the illusory energy, the bhaya arises. Prabhuji often quotes this. This is due to our association with the illusory energy of the Lord, known as Maya or external energy. Yet, all fear is vanquished as soon as there is sound of the Lord represented by His holy name, as it was sounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the following 16 words. So here also we see in the life of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at one particular time, the devotees had become extremely anxious, fearful, when Chand Kazi had implemented a ban on the congregational chanting of the holy names and even had broken the mridanga of the devotees who were chanting kirtan. But that time, what was the workaround? What was the mitigation step that was taken by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What did he do after Chankazi banned the congregational chanting? Yes, Prabhuji, anyone? Shama Gopika Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. He took a large team of devotees and then he went on in congregational chanting. He did Sankirtana and then he approached Chankazi.
Yes. So that was not just a team, that was a huge, congregation of devotees. Basically, he called all the devotees to assemble that evening with torchlights. What is the right word in English for that? Torchlight? Mashal?
Yes.
Yeah. So with torchlight, and he took all those hundreds and thousands of devotees in congregational chanting procession to the house of Chankazi. And Chankazi became so afraid seeing such a large group of devotees that he thought that probably they would physically harm him. And then he called inside Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, had a discussion with him, and he started referring to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his nephew. That his whole tone changed. He said that, look, your father, your uncles, and I, we were like contemporaries. So for you, I am like a chacha. You are like my nephew. So why to have this? We can amicably sort this out between ourselves, and no need to have this large contingent of devotees walking over to my place, my house. And then
and when he asked why, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him why you were so fearful, so he talked about the incident, the dream that he had
previous night.
Yeah,
What was the incident?
That Narasimha Dev appeared in his dream and then he was sitting on his chest and then he had the nails also, the nails of Narasimha Dev also on him. And then he said that how dare you can stop my congregational chanting.
Yes. So Chand Kazi narrated this incident that happened the previous night. When he was asleep, he saw a dream where Lord Narasimhadev was on his chest and ripping apart his chest and chastising Chand Kazi, that how dare he stop the devotees and create disturbance by breaking the mridanga and all that in chanting of the holy names. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was finally very pleased, and Chand Kazi subsequently devoted himself to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission to the extent that even today the tomb of Chand Kazi is a celebrated place for the Vaishnavas, and all the lineage coming from Chand Kazi, they are still very, very favorably disposed towards the Vaishnavas. So we see that if we sincerely take shelter of the holy names, and as some of you have previously mentioned, then we would be able to develop that faith, and to the extent we build that faith, we would also be able to get get free from this fear, from this problem of fear. And this is a famous Vaishnava song by the Vaishnava poet Govinda Das, where he writes, Bhajahu re mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charana Ravindari. By worshipping the lotus feet of Sri Nandanandana Krishna, those lotus feet, they are capable of offering complete fearlessness. And last point is, can we think of any examples of the devotees exhibiting exemplary fearlessness in the face of a calamity? Any examples? One of the famous example we mentioned during discussion.
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj is the most famous example because there were so many factors. First of all, his father was the most powerful demon at that particular time on the planet Earth. Second one, Prahlad Maharaj was in a very vulnerable situation, just a 5-year-old boy with no defense on his own. Because of all this, Prahlad Maharaj's example is very exemplary. Any other example?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Amrish Prabhu, sorry, Amrish Maharaj.
Amrish Maharaj, yes, very true. That the fiery demon that was created by Durvasa Muni, Srimad Bhagavatam specifically mentions the point that Amrish Maharaj did not budge even an inch. He did not move back even an inch looking at that fiery demon. He had that much faith. That doesn't mean that he was completely sure that he will be protected. His understanding was that if Lord Allah wants me to get destroyed, nothing can stop it. So I am completely surrendered. Whatever is the will of the Lord, let it happen. So that was his fearlessness. That fearlessness was not that I will be protected in all circumstances. It was whatever the will of the Lord, let it happen. So we proceed.
Prabhuji, even Jada Bharat, right?
Yes, Jada Bharat, in the face of the very stinging words that were offered to him by Maharaj Rahugan. So it was more of a insight and the chastisement which Rahugan did because of his ignorance. But Jada Bharat was, even before that, even before the interaction with Rahugan Maharaj, when the dacoits were about to sever the head of Jada Bharat as an offering to Mother Kali, that was the point. Jada Bharat remained completely fearless and dedicated to the Lord. Thank you for all the wonderful examples, Prabhuji's, Mataji's.
Even Narada as a small child, right? After losing his mom. Right.
Yes, in the face of all the uncertainties in life, that as a 5-year-old not having any other shelter than his mother facing that situation. Thank you, Mataji. So we go back to the verses, to the next verse. So what was the point we were discussing? That the sound of Lord Krishna's conch shell, that the Dwarka Vasis, they started responding to hearing that particular sound, running fast towards the Lord. Where is the word? Yeah, began to run towards him fast, just to have a long desired audience with the Lord. And the sound of the Lord Krishna's conch shell is specifically mentioned as that which threatens even the fear personified. And we also saw Lord Krishna he is fearful even to the fear personified in the prayers of Queen Kunti. So let's move to the next verse. So these are the two verses combined together. Let me see who is the devotee who is going to recite. Divya Rukmini Mataji, Hare Krishna. You want to recite? Divya Rukmini?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah. Can I, Prabhu?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tatropanita Balayo.
You can recite in a proper meter, Mataji. You are so good in singing. You can try to recite in a meter. Going to take a minute. Okay, you try. Whatever.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Tatropanita Balayo. Ravirdipamivaprita. Atmaramam Purnakamam Nijalabhena Nityadha Vidyutpulla Mukha Prochur Harshagatgada Yogira Pidaram Sarva Suhradam Vitara Mivarbhaga. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Translation. The citizen arrived before the Lord with their respective presentations, offering them to the fully satisfied and self-sufficient one who, by his own potency, insensibly supplies others. These presentations were like the offering of a lamp to the sun. Yet the citizen began to speak in ecstatic language to receive the Lord, just as wards welcome their guardians and father.
Thank you, Mother. So we'll come to the purport. So here, the specific words that are mentioned in the verse are Tatra Panita Balayo, that the citizens of Dwarka, all the Dwarkavasis, they rushed towards Krishna with all their gift articles that they wanted to offer to the Lord. And how did they want to offer those gifts? Raver Deepam Ivadritaha, just like offering of the lamp to the sun. No matter how powerful the flame of the lamp may be, in front of the sun, no flame or no effulgence can stand strong. So the Dwarkavasis knew very well that Krishna, he's not in want of any of the things. Why? Because they knew Krishna's position as Atma Ramam Purna Kamam, that he is completely self-satisfied and devoid of any of his needs or wants. He has completely all his wants and needs self-fulfilled. He does not need anything from anyone else. Still, they were rushing towards Lord Krishna with all their gifts. So the first question arises is, if Krishna is Atma Ramam Purna Kamam, that he is completely self-satisfied without any need or want, why then he acted in so many ways that he acted during his presence on this earth, including his parakiya relationship with the gopis, as well as his having married 16,108 wives. In fact, in one of the classes, Srila Prabhupada mentions that when he was asked this question by one of the audience, why did Krishna marry 16,108 wives? Prabhupada mentioned, what to speak of 16,108 wives? Krishna can even marry 16 trillion wives, and still there is nothing wrong in it. Still, it is not fully consistent with his position. So why did he do that? That is the first question. That if Krishna is self-satisfied, why does he need to have those relationships? And second is, if the citizens of Dwaraka were aware of this position of Krishna as Atma Ramam Purna Kamam, then why did they bring so many gifts? Why did they bring so many offerings while receiving him? So devotees, maybe you want to refer to the purport of this particular text 4 and 5, and then raise your hands, whoever wants to answer. Why did Krishna have so many relationships, Swakiya and Parakiya? And why did the Dwarka Vasis bring so many gift items for Krishna? Take a minute and then raise your hands after you have gone through. Or if you have already read, then you can raise straight away. Okay, we'll give a minute or two, Devika Mataji, and then you can answer. Let devotees go through the purport. I just saw the chat, and thank you so many of you for, like Aishwarya Subhadra Mataji has quoted the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita about why do we experience fear. One second. are all of you done? Prabhuji's, Mataji's? All right. So Devika Mataji, you want to answer the question, first one. Why did Krishna have so many relationships?
Not that one, Prabhu. Second one.
Okay, second one you want to answer? Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, even Krishna is self-sufficient and is a cause. He is all cognizant, but still he is a well-wisher for one and all, and he accepts from everyone everything that is offered to him in his pure devotional service. Because of the devotional service offered by the devotees, he accepts it as is a Bhaktavatsala.
Yes, because of their loving reciprocation, because of love of the Dwarkavasis towards Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is accepting their love, not the offering, because he's not in want of anything, but he's offering their affection towards him. That is one way, okay. And how about first question? Want to answer? Let me see. There were many hands that were raised, but all have disappeared. Who were the other devotees who had raised hands?
Prabhu, I'll try that, Prabhu.
Yeah, try that.
That is also devotional. That is the pure devotee of Krishna. They look a God in a different relationship. It may be Swakiya or Parakiya. Because of the love only, because of the devotional love only, they want to have a relationship with the God.
Yes, however, it is also mentioned, like as we saw in the verse, that gopis, for example, they were attracted to Krishna out of lust, but of course, they were completely surrendered. That was one thing. What was the background of this 16,108 wives? So probably leave aside the 8 principal queens, but 16,100 princes. What was their background? Where did Krishna accept them from? What was the circumstance of Krishna accepting these princes?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, they were all the queens, the princes of the other kings basically around the Dwaraka, and they were all jailed by another demon. Sorry, I can't recall his name. Then when they had been jailed for like quite such a long time, and they were very hopeless that nobody can get them released in this life, and they would end up, ending up their lives in the jail itself. But then at one point of time, it so happened that when the Lord actually, he was trying to work with his other, the demons, and then he landed up in that jail, and then accidentally he noticed that so many girls, the queens, were jailed, and then he killed the other demon or the other king basically. He killed that person, and then he got all of these queens released, and they asked that, okay, Krishna, we've been out of our house all this while, and now that as per the societal rules, nobody is going to accept us now, and then we cannot obviously return to our home, so what is our next thing in our lives? So they requested that, Krishna, as you have saved our lives now, so please also accept us, marry us, and then give us a life, since we can't get back to our homes and the society will not accept us. So that is when Krishna married all of those 16,000 wives.
So all those were princes. Yes, Adidev Gopesh Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, they were all they were captured by Narakasura.
Yes, they were all captured by Narakasura, and as Mataji rightly mentioned, that they had this fear that nobody would marry them because of they being in the captivity of Narakasura.
Demon name is
You can raise your hand, Mataji.
Bhaumasura.
Yeah, yes, Narakasura and Bhaumasura are same. Okay. You can raise your hand, Mataji, whenever you want to contribute anything, so that we maintain the flow. Okay, so Krishna, when he rescued all those 16,100 princesses, they had this fear of not being accepted by anyone else, and they were completely dependent on the Lord for the protection, because for a chaste lady, being questioned on the character is even worse than death. So Krishna offered them protection, and he also offered them all honor by marrying them. And it is mentioned in Krishna book that he treated all of those 16,108 queens with such great respect and personal interaction with them, that each queen used to feel that Krishna is only with me, that only Krishna can do. So coming back to this particular point, that although Krishna is self-sufficient, the reason why he accepts all those relationships with his devotees is just for accepting their love and affection and reciprocating with them, not that he is in want of anything. And we also see there are other explanations given by Shukadev Goswami, including Lord Krishna. When the Rasa dance happened, how much was Lord Krishna's age? How old was he? Yes, Prabhuji's Mataji's?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, 8 years.
8 years old. He was very young. He was an 8 years old child. That means the desires as an adult had not even arisen, even if we consider from the material point of view. And second thing, it is also mentioned that even for the gopis, that their affection for the Lord was completely pure. It was not on material sensual platform. In fact, it is mentioned that the pure love in the spiritual world, when it comes to the material world, it is reflected in a perverted form. So that is the explanation of this. And basically, when we go to the higher cantos, this will be discussed in more thorough detail. Hare Krishna. Who had read the Devi? Sorry, who had read the verse? Hare Krishna. Anybody? Divya Rukmini Mataji, you would like to read through the purport, this one on the screen? Or any other devotee? We proceed through quickly.
Prabhu, can I read?
Yes, Devi. Please go ahead.
Therefore, any presentation, however valuable it may be, is not needed by him. But still, because he is well-wisher for one and all, he accepts from everyone everything that is offered to him in pure devotional service. It is not that he is in want for such things, because the things are themselves generated from his energy. The comparison is made here in that making offerings to the Lord is something like offering a lamp in the worship of the sun god. Anything fiercely and illuminating is but an emanation of the energy of the sun, and yet to worship the sun god, it is necessary to offer him a lamp. In the worship of the sun, there is some sort of demand made by the worshipper, but in the case of devotional service to the Lord, there is no question of demand from either side. It is all a sign of pure love and affection between the Lord and the devotee. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.11.4.5. Perfect. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So here one more point is emphatically mentioned by Srila Prabhupada, that the illumination and of the lamp is ultimately coming from the sun itself. The fire has the power coming from the sun itself. Similarly, all these 16,108 princes, even if you consider all the queens, they all belong to Krishna anyway. All of us belong to Krishna. So if he is claiming 16,108 souls, or even if he is claiming 16 trillion souls, all of them do belong to Krishna eternally. So he's not taking anybody else's property. It is his own property as part and parcel. So there is nothing wrong. That is also another way of looking at it. So we proceed to the next verse. Devotees can keep their hands raised, whoever wants to read through. Let me go to the text. Text 6. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, Hare Krishna. 1 second, Mataji. Hare Krishna. The voice is very soft. 1 second.
This was already done, I think.
Yes. I'm just moving to the next one. Yeah. Yes. Lalita Vinodini.
Krishna, shall I start with Prabhuji?
Yes.
Ratasmate लता स्मते नाथ सदाङ्घ्रि पङ्कजम् विरिञ्च वैरिञ्च सुरेन्द्रवन्दितम् परायणं क्ष्मेमम् इहेच्छतां परम् यत्र काल प्रभवेत् परप्रभु
Translation.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The citizens arrived before the Lord with their respective presentations, offering them to the fully satisfied and self-sufficient one, who, by his own potency, incessantly supplies others. These presentations were like the offering of a lamp to the sun. Yet the citizens began to speak in ecstatic language to receive the Lord, just as gods welcome their guardian and father.
Yes, we'll
Should I
proceed.
continue purport, Prabhuji?
Actually, this purport we just read on the slide. I will request you for the next one. 1 second. Yes, Mataji, the citizens.
Purport, yeah, Hare Krishna.
Translation.
Translation, yeah, Hare Krishna. The citizens said, "O Lord, you are worshipped by all demigods like Brahma, the four sanas, and even the King of Heaven. You are the ultimate rest for those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefit of life. You are the supreme transcendental Lord, and inevitable time cannot exert its influence upon you."
Yes. So we see, of course, the purport is bit long and bit philosophical, so you can go through at your leisure. But the residents of the Dwaraka, they were completely aware about Krishna's position as the absolute truth, knowing him as the Supreme Lord. And they also were accustomed to having different devatas. We also see in the episode of Shamantaka jewel, when Satrajit used to wear that jewel and roam around, showing off in the streets of Dwarka, the Dwarkavasis used to feel as if the sun god himself has arrived, because they were quite accustomed to seeing various devatas paying their visits to Lord Krishna. So in this regard, one time there is one story of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, who visited Jagannath Puri on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, and he visited one of the leaders of a Shankara Mutt. And specifically, Prabhupada was not very happy with the fact that his Western disciples were not being allowed entry inside the Jagannath temple, because they were following Sanatan Dharma very, very diligently in terms of their pure habits and lifestyle. So Jayapataka Swami Maharaj visited Jagannath Puri and visited the leader of the Shankara Mutt to discuss on this particular aspect of foreign bodied devotees not being allowed an entry. And he explained the leader the entire background of ISKCON, the regulatory principles that the devotees follow, the austere lifestyle in general, and how devoted Srila Prabhupada's own students from the Western countries were. And after hearing this, the leader of the Shankara Mutt basically asked, "So what is the problem?" He said that we are not allowed entrance into the temple, and we are not able to take face-to-face darshan of the Lord on a day-to-day basis. And the leader basically mentioned that, "Do you say that you can't take darshan of Lord Jagannath on a day-to-day basis? Jagannath is directly present before you." And Maharaj was in a way puzzled, what is he meaning? And then he said that Jagannath is sitting before you right now. So basically the Mayavadi person wanted to emphasize the point that how the Supreme Lord and we ourselves are non-different. So there are two concepts which the Mayavad philosophers, they have a very different interpretations than the Vaishnava philosophy. So the first concept is that Brahman is non-dual. That means Supreme Lord is Brahman, we are also Brahman, and each and every soul is also Brahman. And that way, Supreme Lord and the individual soul, there is no difference. This is one of their argument. And second argument is how this Maya or the material world comes into existence. They do consider that Maya is the supreme, basically not the supreme, but Supreme Lord is also influenced by Maya whenever he comes in this material world. So anybody would like to explain from the Vaishnava point of view, Prabhuji, how do the Vaishnavas understand these particular points? How Brahman is non-dual? How can we understand that although it is in terms of what is that particular tattva or what is that particular explanation is called, and this is very important, especially for everyone as such. This is the basic of the Vaishnava philosophy, and those of us who are going for initiation expect this philosophical understanding to be tested 99.99%. It is very important for all of us to be clear. I would request other devotees who have not spoken also to try and answer this. Don't worry about being right or wrong. All of us, we are learning. Anyone, there are so many devotees who have not spoken. Rohini Mataji, would you like to answer if you are comfortable?
I'll try, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you can try, yes.
Brahman is non-dual, meaning Krishna, the Lord, is non-dual. He is in his personal form as Krishna, and then his light from the body is Brahman. And then he is also within all of us as Paramatma. But we are different, meaning that we have our own Atma, which is not Paramatma, but both are residing in the body.
Very nice explanation, Mataji. So we are same as God as far as quality is concerned, as far as his being part and parcel is concerned. And we are different from him in terms of quantity. That Krishna is Vibhu, we are Anu. Krishna is infinite, we are infinitesimal. So Brahman is non-dual. Non-dual means same in terms of quality, but different in terms of quantity. And how is the Maya or material world created according to the Vaishnava philosophy? You may not recollect the exact words, but you can explain in plain English. That is good enough. Or any other devotees want to try what is the position of Maya? Where does Maya come from? Rajiv, Sundur, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Raju, Prabhu, you want to share your thoughts? Or any other devotees who are especially going for initiation and all, these concepts are very important to be cleared.
Prabhuji, is it not energy of the Lord?
Yes, it is energy of the Lord. Yes, very true.
Lord's external energy.
External energy, yes, Bahiranga Shakti. And what is that verse from Bhagavad Gita?
Devi Esha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratya Mami Vaya Prapadyanti, Maya Mesham Tarantite. 7th chapter, sloka number, not sure to.
Thank you, Rasarangini Mataji. There are many verses, so this is one verse. Also,
There
any
is
other
one.
verse?
Mayadhyakshena Prakriti.
9.10.
Yes, Shama Gopika Mataji mentioned that.
Prabhu, Bhagavad Gita 9.10 verse, which is Mayadhyakshena Prakriti, Suyate Sacharacharam, Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. So there, Krishna says that material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction.
Yes. So Krishna is the origin source of Maya, and Maya manifests in this world as, how does Maya manifest in this world?
Material modes of media.
Yes.
Illusion.
Material modes.
Yeah. So Maya means illusion, and it manifests. Yes, Mataji, Vandita Mataji, thank you. So it manifests in the form of the three modes of material nature, the interaction of the three modes of material nature. So coming back to the verse, the Dwaraka Vasis, they were aware of Lord Krishna's position as the Supreme Lord, and even the child in Dwaraka, Vrindavan, all these pure devotees of the Lord, they knew all this philosophy that we study. And then we move to the, hang on now. Yeah, these are the prayers of the Dwaraka Vasis. So we won't go through each and every verse. I want to go through directly to the verse 8 or 9. Let me see the translation. Yeah, so this is in this particular text. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, you can continue with this also. Oh, it is.
Translation?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, okay, Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh, it is our good luck that we have come again today under your protection, by your presence. For your lordship rarely visits even the denizens of heaven. Now it is possible for us to look into your smiling face, which is full of affectionate glances. We can now see your transcendental form, full of all auspiciousness. Purport also, Prabhuji?
No, purport is very long. We want to go a bit more into detail for the next. Yeah, this part you can read. Therefore.
Yeah. Therefore, the Lord, purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, the Lord is rarely seen by them, but the inhabitants of Dwarka, because of their being pure devotees without any tinge of material contamination of fruitive activities and empiric philosophical speculation, can see him face to face by the grace of the Lord. This is the original state of the living entities and can be attained by reviving our natural and constitutional state of life, which is discovered by devotional service only. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So here, who are those days? Them means the devatas. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the earlier part of the purport that whenever the devatas, they want to have an audience of the Lord, they need to approach Brahma, and Brahma along with devatas, they go to the shore of the milk ocean. They go to the shore of the Shvetadvip, and Brahma offers the prayer, and then Lord reciprocates with Brahma within his heart, and then sometime he may grant them darshan. But typically the communication is not a direct one. Like for the devotees, on the other hand, it is explained they can have face-to-face interaction, face-to-face dealings with the Lord, and they don't have restrictions like the devatas, who even the highest of the devatas, Brahmaji, he need to go maximum till the shore of the ocean of milk, and then try and wait for Lord's instruction by meditating upon him. Now we come to a very important verse, which is text 9. So this text we will recite. Let me see, who are the devotees who have not recited and who would like to recite Hare Krishna? Prema Priya Jayashree Mataji, you're well? You're okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'll do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. 1 second, let me open it.
Next one, Prabhuji.
Yeah, 9th we will go direct. Let me see the translation if it is the same verse.
Yeah.
Yes, 9th.
Shloka also, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yaryambujaksha vasasara bhavavan.
Yaryambujaksha apasasara bhavavan.
Kurun madhun vata sahrad kidrikshaya.
Kurun madhun vata suhradhidrukshaya.
Tatrapta koti pratima kshano bhaved.
Tatrapta koti pratima kshano bhaved.
Ramim vinakšnor ivanas tavachyuta. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Translation?
Yes. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavana, or Hastinapura to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like millions of years. O infallible one, at that time our eyes become useless, as if bereft of sun. Purport I continue, Prabhuji?
We'll discuss the purport.
Yeah.
Okay. So here the Dwaraka Vasis are comparing our vision without the presence of the sun to Lord not being present in Dwaraka. So it is explained, this example is used few places in the scriptures, that although we are able to view, our vision in this world is limited, because that vision is of no use if there is no sun, moon or electricity. In complete darkness, we are not able to see anything unless we have some light in the form of sun, moon or electricity. Similarly, for the Dwaraka Vasis, although they were living, when Krishna was away, the life was as good as having a vision without presence of the sun. So here specifically they have mentioned that whenever you go to places like Mathura, Vrindavan or Hastinapur. So the next question to all of you is, what is our understanding? I think I skipped. So this all of you can read through Prabhuji's, Mataji's. Okay. What is our understanding of Krishna visiting Vrindavan after he left Vrindavan to go to Mathura upon Kamsa's invitation? Did Krishna ever visit Vrindavan once he left? So
no, Prabhuji, he didn't come back.
Okay, so that is one. Okay, I would like to request other devotees also to share your thought. What is your understanding? Did Krishna ever go back to Vrindavan after he left for Mathura?
No, Prabhu, not physically.
Okay, okay. Even to be honest,
No.
I also had the same understanding. Okay, but we'll discuss based on what our acharyas say. What about other devotees? Nityangi Prema Sita Devi Mataji. Is it Namita Mataji?
Prabhuji. Sarvantariyami.
Oh yes, Sarvantariyami, but we are talking about physical form of Krishna. Basically, of course, it's transcendental, but
He
physical
is not coming back, Prabhuji.
Okay, so many devotees feel that he has not gone back to Vrindavan ever after having left it. Namita Mataji, Nityangi Mataji, Hare Krishna. What is your understanding?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji raised for to recite shloka.
Sorry, come again.
So I raised hand to recite shloka, Prabhu.
Recite shloka. Okay, no problem. But what is your understanding on this particular point? Did Krishna go back or did he not?
So as per my understanding, he did not, Prabhu.
He did not. And that was the common. Rasarangini Mataji, you have anything?
Hare Krishna, while this is the actual concept, but from senior Vaishnavas, what they say is the Krishna, that there are two Krishnas, right? The Goloka Krishna never went at all because he doesn't fight. He always is in loving devotion. So he stayed in Vrindavan, but the moment he crossed Vrindavan, it was the Vasudev Krishna. So Vasudev Krishna is the one who actually left. So this is one. And the second version is at the time of the war, the girls actually go and physically try and pull Krishna. This is the physical Krishna who's pulled back to Vrindavan. So these are the two versions which is not largely spoken, but spoken only by the senior Vaishnavas.
Yes, so both are correct. For the first point that Krishna never takes a step out of Vrindavan, yes, that is easily transcendental form, but the form that is physically visible in Vrindavan, as such, after he left, did he come or come back? We will try and see on that. And second is also after the battle of, was it after the battle of Kurukshetra? Basically during the eclipse, when the queens of Dwaraka and Krishna, along with the entourage, they visited Kurukshetra, and Nanda Maharaj, Yashodamai, and the Gopis and the Brajavasis, they also visited. At that particular time, the Gopis, they took Krishna on a chariot, and that is the significance of Ratha Yatra. So we will try and decode this based on the explanation of one of the very prominent acharyas in the Gaudiya Vaishnava line, Srila Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami goes back from the point of now, that is when Krishna is going for Dwarka from Hastinapur. How much was the age of Lord Krishna at that particular point in time, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? We have an idea based on what we have heard. Huh?
11 years.
No.
11 years.
No. We are
125. 125.
120 in the battlefield of Kurukshetra.
Oh, in the battle. Okay.
Yeah, battlefield. Yeah. So after the battle is over, probably
Yeah.
few months have passed.
Yeah, I thought going to Mathura age.
Going to Mathura. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the Krishna's age, 125 years. And Krishna is going to Hastinapur after he has finished staying in, he is going to Dwarka after he has finished attending to all the requests and all. How long did Yudhishthir Maharaj rule before Krishna's departure, which happened not so after he went?
34 years.
24. Okay.
34.
34. Okay. Let me see who answering.
35 years.
35. All of you are very close. 34, 35. Any other?
50 years.
Come again, Prabhuji.
50 years. 50.
Okay, so it's around 36 years. 36 years, Yudhishthir Maharaj ruled, and he stepped down as soon as he came to know about Lord Krishna's departure, and the Pandavas started towards north after enthroning Parikshit as their heir, as the sovereign king. So 125 minus 36, you can use the calculator. How much does it come to? 125 minus 36.
89.
Come again, Prabhuji?
89.
89. So 89 was the time when basically, the rule of Yudhishthir Maharaj started after the battle of Kurukshetra. So before the battle of Kurukshetra, what happened with the Pandavas? Were they leading a comfortable life? What happened before the battle? Where were they sent? Before
Forest, Vanvas.
Forest, correct.
12 years. 12 years.
Exile in the forest. And how long was it approximately?
14
Basically,
12
14
years.
12 years.
12 years of Vanvas and 1 year of
Agyatavas.
13.
Correct. So around 13 years. So 12 years of exile in the forest, 1 year of incognito, Agyatavas. So 13. 89 minus 13, how much it is?
76.
Yeah, 76. And you consider few months before that, what happened before the exile? What triggered the exile of the Pandavas?
Draupadi's Vastra.
No.
Gambling.
That was the battle. Yes,
No, that was
gambling.
much later.
Gambling.
Gambling. The game.
Ashwamedha Yada.
Yeah, we will come to Ashwamedha approach. So the game of dice that was played, that the Pandavas were invited to by the Kauravas, that was played by Duryodhan on the trigger, on the instigation of Shakuni, so as to take away the everything from Pandavas and send them to exile. So right now Krishna is around 76 years old. So what triggered the game of dice? Why did Duryodhana's envy towards Pandavas got inflamed? What was the trigger?
Ashwamedha Yada?
Rajasuya. Rajasuya.
Rajasuya. Ashwamedha Yada is Ramayana. Right.
Yes. Ashwamedha Yagya, Yudhishthir Maharaj performed after he was enthroned later.
Okay.
So Rajasuya Yagya, what was the trigger? Prabhuji's Mataji's, what did Duryodhana observe? In
the palaces.
Prabhuji,
yes, opulence of King Yudhishthir, and several things happen, including
he falls.
Come again, Mataji.
He falls, Prabhuji, thinking that it's water, he just slips and falls. Draupadi laughs.
Yeah, including the laughter of Draupadi, where Duryodhana felt insulted, where she said ki the sun, basically she cracked a joke on Duryodhan. So that was a trigger. So it is explained by our Vaishnava Acharya, specifically Srila Jiva Goswami, that before settling down in Dwaraka, around when Krishna was at the age of 75-76, which is 125 minus 36 years of Yudhishthir Maharaj's rule, minus 13 and a half, 14 years of time when the Pandavas went to the forest, plus coming back, including the game of dice, coming back, including the Rajasuya Yagya. So at the time of Rajasuya Yagya, Krishna was around 75 years of age. So it is explained by our Acharyas that one time, at that particular time, before settling down in Dwaraka, Krishna did visit Vrindavan, and at that particular point in time, all the residents of the Vrindavan, including the Gopis, Nanda Maharaj, Yashodamai, and everyone, Krishna did transfer them to the Goloka Vrindavan, to his eternal kingdom. And that's why the last heard pastime of the Gopis we see typically is when Krishna, the Ratha Yatra, basically. After that, we don't hear any further. And to be honest, I also dwelled into this only after reading this particular verse, which is text 9, where the Dwaraka Vasis are mentioning that Krishna, he visited Mathura and Vrindavan. So basically, there was one visit by Krishna, and there are other aspects like Rasarangini Mataji mentioned and all, that Krishna in his eternal transcendental form, he never takes a steps out of Vrindavan, but in his physical form, he did visit once. And that was the time he took all the Vrajavasis back home, back to Godhead. So anyway, all of this we discussed. This is not as part of the purport, but this is based on decoding the timeline of Krishna's activities in this world. Even I was not aware that he went to Vrindavan physically, but apparently there is a mention in our Acharya's commentary for this one incident of Krishna. For Balaram, there is description is quite vivid that he did visit Vrindavan. For Krishna's messenger like Uddhava and all, even the description is vivid. So that is easier to understand. But for Krishna also, there is a mention. So now we go to the group activity. We are still very close to the end time. Any questions, comments, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, before we go to the group activities on the, so far, whatever points we discussed in terms of Krishna's coming to Dwarka, he blowing his conch shell, the Dwarkavasis interaction so far with Krishna, they offering all the gifts and their mood of welcoming Krishna. Hare Krishna. All right. So now we go to group
Okay,
exercise.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Just now, like you said, Krishna visited Vrindavan once again and took all the Brajvasis to Golok Vrindavan, right? So, what was the age at that time, Krishna, you said?
Based on the what I read, basically from the classes, what I have heard, Jiva Goswami mentioned it was around 75.
Okay.
Krishna's absolute age. Of course, Krishna, as we know, is always ever youthful. So he was youthful even at 125, but technically speaking, it was 75, 75, 76, around that.
Okay.
Okay. So now we come to the last part. See, wherever Krishna is involved, we all should be very inquisitive. Some of it might seem like a mental exercise to try and note down these figures, to try and do the calculations. But if Krishna is involved, we will try our level best with our tiny brain, that to do the calculation. Similar to what Srila Prabhupada also mentions in the purport at the beginning of 4th chapter, wherever Brahma's lifespan is calculated. Prabhupada mentions that some of it might seem very technical it is, but he says we should still try to understand it to the best of our capability, to the best of our material intelligence. Hare Krishna. So now we would make devotees probably into 3 different groups, and all of you need to spend around, I would take 10-12 extra minutes, spend around 7-8 minutes to quickly scan through the purports and jot down the points of learning of practical applications. Leave aside the philosophical point that we have already covered, okay, that we can use in our own day-to-day life from these grand welcome given to Krishna by the Dwarkavasis. Text 1 to 10. Is it clear, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna, the group exercise?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, let me just put it on the, and minimum devotees can try to come up with 3 points. If there are too many, then take the topmost 5 so that we don't spend too long. So let me form the groups, 1 second. And take around 5-6 minutes, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, whatever we can jot down in that time, that is sufficient, so that we don't extend too long beyond our timeline. Hare Krishna.
Arni Mataji, Mamta Mataji, and Muko Mataji, please join the main hall. No? Join the groups, no?
Vandita Mataji, Mangalmay Mataji, was the time sufficient? I know that very quickly requested all of you to come back to the main room, because I don't want the session to be delayed by too long. Who will be the devotees from group 1?
Usha Kamat Prabhuji.
Sorry, come again.
Usha Kamat Mataji will present, Prabhuji.
Yes, Usha Kamat Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. 1 second. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. With help from all devotees from our group who contributed very well, we came up with several points, but I will be discussing only 3. The first one is from verse 1, which is when the Lord descends on earth, he is always accompanied by his pure devotees and associates. And this is the protocol. That is, all liberated souls are very closely attached and connected with the Lord. And that shows the spontaneous love that they have for Krishna. So this is one of the qualities of liberated souls, that they have the opportunity to associate with the Lord and accompany him wherever he goes. The second one is from verse 9, Prabhuji, which states that, one moment, that we must always be in the sight of Lord Krishna, so that we can see both ourselves and the Lord with his different energies. So whatever knowledge we gain makes no sense unless it is connected and related and associated with the Lord. So it is like the sun, that in the absence of the sun, nothing is visible. So too, in the absence of Krishna, nothing is visible. So the futility of just accumulating knowledge, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the third point is from verse 10, which states that the living entity can see the Lord face to face, and all his miseries are at once removed. Each of us wants to remove the miseries of life, but we do not know how to. The solution is given here. It rests on us to assimilate it or not. So we are all covered with this illusory energy, and the only way to uncover knowledge is by accepting the Lord and associating with him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'll just add one point to the last one. The
Yes,
Lord is present in every particle of all existence, and he can manifest his presence in anyone. Just adding that point. The
Thank
last. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Usha Mataji, and all devotees from group 1.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Who will be the group 2 devotees presenting?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Myself, yeah.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, all our team members also contributed, and we have taken 5 points. Out of that, I will present 3, right, Prabhu? So, so Prabhu, from the verse 3, we see that how we can overcome the fear. So, for the overcome of fear, we should actually, which is caused by the illusory energy of the Lord, known as Maya. So, if we do the chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, we can become free of fear, which is mentioned. And second point is from verse 4 or 5. We see that like how Dwarka Vasis has offered presents to the Lord. So whatever possessions we have, which is a gift from Lord, we should also offer to the Lord, offer it back to the Lord. So it may be it may be in terms of money, or any qualities that we have or any skills that we have, we should all offer to the Lord. And the third is
what is the example given usually for this? Ganges water.
You,
Offering
yeah,
Ganges.
but it is like what Prabhu?
Like typical example scriptures give is like offering Ganges water back to the Ganges.
Yes. And even there is a song, Prabhu, in Carnatic music. We have a song. ಕೆರೆಯ ನೀರನ್ನು ಕೆರೆಗೆ ಚೆಲ್ಲಿ ವರವ ಪಡೆದವರಂತೆ ಕಾಣಿ ಹರಿಯ ಕರುಣದೊಡಾದ ಭಾಗ್ಯವು ಹರಿ ಸಮರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಬದುಕಿ. So it is like whatever like we obtain from the grace of the Lord, we should offer it back to the Lord. It is mentioned.
Thank you. Vipin Vilas, you were saying something?
I was saying, but Prabhuji, you asked example. I think the example of sun is given.
Yes. Offering lamb to the sun is given here, and
yes,
other places we find Ganges example. What was the third point, Mataji?
Yeah, third point is, Prabhu, from the verse 6. Like you have rightly pointed out today, like Krishna Laulyam iti Mulyam. So there, verse 6 or 10, there is it's mentioned that Krishna's attraction is so powerful. I think it's verse 10, Prabhu. Yeah, verse 10. Krishna's attraction is so powerful that once being attracted by him, one cannot tolerate separation from him.
Yes, that was the point. Also, yesterday in the temple class, Prabhuji mentioned that Krishna knows only how to hug, but once he gives a hug to the devotee, Krishna doesn't know how to release.
Yes.
Nice class.
Patri Prabhu, very nice.
Yeah. So for other devotees, Prabhuji mentioned the speaker devotee who spoke yesterday evening in the temple, Patri Prabhuji. He mentioned that once Krishna embraces a devotee, he doesn't know how to let go. Meaning that even if we become forgetful of Krishna, he will never leave us. He will always keep that embrace. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shama Gopika Mataji. Anything else?
That's 3 points are now.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Who will be the devotees from group 3? Hare Krishna. Quickly, so we proceed and conclude. Who will be the devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Adidev Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. 1 second.
So in our group, we discussed a few points. So first one was that when the Lord, so we see that when the Lord blew the Shankha, all the Varakavasis, the devotees, they came to take darshan of the Lord. So similar, like when the senior devotees come like to the temple, or like even when they like Aarti, they blow the devotee blows the Shankha. We all have to be eager to take, very like enthusiastic to take try like our best to take the darshan, like even from side or from behind also. If the temple is like full, we should try to take. And second one was which Vipin Vilas Prabhuji mentioned was that for the offered the gifts to the Lord, so that we should also offer to the Lord and to senior devotees. So by that, when we offer to senior devotees, we get purified. And Ananda Prada Mataji mentioned. Mataji, could you please tell the point which you mentioned?
Yeah, I was talking about the verse 9, that the unbearable separation, that we should have all the time to longing for the Lord, that we can't live without Lord. I think like some other people also mentioned that. So we should always live, just like the example they have given in the purport for sunlight, that is the symbol of the knowledge, and the Maya, the other Mataji discussed, the darkness. So we should have all the times that we want to see Dhamma, we want to go, all the time, keeping the mind for the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. These were the points that we discussed.
Thank you, Adidev Prabhu and Ananda Prada Mataji. The point what Mataji mentioned, just highlighted here in the purport, Prabhupada says it is necessary that we always keep ourselves in the sight of Lord Krishna. so that we can see both ourselves and the Lord. Becoming out of sight of Lord Krishna means basically forgetting him and going into our own world. So of course Krishna doesn't forget us, but we forget Krishna. Thank you all Prabhujis, Matajis, and we will continue with this chapter. Next time I will try and conclude also, although around 25 plus verses are remaining, we will cover them section wise. And apologies, we went slightly longer today. We will continue with the exam now. Let me stop the recording 1 second. Where is stop recording?
Prabhuji,